this was because Netflix was holding her back and she wants to push forward. Well, what better way to do that than to go to these countries and sort of test run how the business could go if they expand into Australia? I think nothing has been confirmed, but certainly it feels like that's the mood music.
And what do they know her to be? A gold-digging grifter.
Something wild just flipped the script on Meghan Markle's upcoming Australia trip. Out of nowhere, fresh reports started circulating, and the drama popped off fast. It all traces back to a private email that somehow leaked into the public, and not in a quiet way either. This wasn't some random note. It had real weight behind it, and now people are locked in, watching every move.
Well, no. Can I just tell you that Australia has tackled illegal immigration very successfully. And I think given the fact that Harry and Meghan are on their way, I think it's time to reactivate Operation Sovereign Borders, Paul. Airstrikes, get the boats out. Because no, the bottom line is, I mean, I can't speak for your viewers, but I will tell you that lots of Australian viewers of the Mark Dolan show don't want to see Harry and Meghan. The reason why it went down well in 2018, Paul, is because the Australian public didn't know Meghan Markle very well. Well, they know her now.
That leaked email supposedly spilled behind-the-scenes details about an event tied to Meghan's visit. Info that was never meant to be seen by the public. Now insiders are saying Meghan is seriously on edge about what could come out next. Because once one message slips, people start connecting dots and asking questions real quick. And the timing couldn't be worse. The noise is getting louder, and it's putting pressure on everything around this trip. This Australia visit was supposed to be a smooth comeback moment, helping rebuild her image and shine a light on her latest projects. But now, the whole conversation is switching lanes fast. Instead of support, people are debating transparency, high-end lifestyles, and whether this event is really what it claims to be. The spotlight has shifted hard, and it's dragging attention away from the message Meghan likely wanted, leading every headline. To really get why this story is blowing up right now, you have to look at what actually came out in that leaked email.
It's so interesting. I was actually on that royal tour back in 2018, and the optics for us.
Reports picked up by Sky News Australia claim the message came from internal communications tied to Meghan's planned appearance at a women-focused retreat in Australia. Somehow, that message made its way into public view, and once it hit, everything sped up fast. The contents reportedly included planning details, organizer notes, and logistics that were only meant for people working behind the scenes. The moment that kind of info leaks, the internet doesn't wait. People start digging, guessing, and connecting dots instantly. Now, leaks in celebrity circles aren't exactly rare. Private messages and internal plans slip out from time to time, and usually it causes a quick buzz and fades. But this situation hit different and got people way more locked in than usual. That's because the email didn't just show how things were being planned. It pushed people to zoom in on the event itself.
At that time, because we didn't know what was going on behind the scenes. And to Tom Bauer's book, I mean, these are the claims that he's talking about. It's the lead up to Megxit. But for us as journalists and members of the public seeing that tour, it looked like a huge success. There were thousands of people greeting them everywhere. They were so popular at that time. It felt like this really huge moment for them and a really exciting moment for the monarchy. Now, as we know, that wasn't how they felt about it behind the scenes. And, 18 months later, they had left the royal family.
And that's where things started getting a lot more messy. The event tied to Meghan's visit is being promoted as a high-end women's retreat focused on empowerment, networking, and personal growth. On the surface, it sounds polished and inspiring. Something meant to bring women together, share ideas, and build real connections. But as more people started talking about it online, critics began pointing out details that didn't quite sit right. And then, one specific detail caught attention almost immediately. and that's when the conversation really started heating up. The ticket prices for this retreat are what really made people stop and stare. Reports say the cost shoots up into the thousands of Australian dollars, and for a lot of people that feels seriously out of reach. Supporters are saying this isn't surprising at all when you've got celebrity speakers, exclusive access, and luxury venues. Prices like that are expected. But not everyone is buying that explanation. Critics are looking at it from a completely different angle. To them, this raises a bigger issue. If the whole event is about empowerment and opportunity, why does it seem built for only a small circle of wealthy attendees? That question alone lit up social media fast. Comment sections filled up with strong opinions, and people weren't holding back at all. Just when things were already getting intense, another layer of curiosity started building online.
But apparently Australia holds a special place in the handlers' minds, because somehow they think Australia has been kinder to the formers than anywhere else. I'm pretty sure Australia's not massive fans.
More voices jumped in, and suddenly a new question started spreading everywhere, pushing this situation even further into the spotlight. The conversation didn't slow down, it got louder. Now, the biggest question floating around is simple, but it hits hard. Was this email leak really an accident, or did someone let it slip on purpose? There's no solid proof pointing either way right now, but even the idea of it being intentional has people talking non-stop. In the world of celebrity news and royal watchers, even a small mystery like this can blow up into a massive debate overnight. Some observers are already saying this controversy could completely overshadow the real purpose of Meghan's trip.
So there is that aspect of it where they want to come here and I guess just sort of launch this new phase of their career. But at the same time, it will, of course, invite comparisons to that trip back in 2018 when there were thousands of people out to meet them. And now you're looking at situations where they're selling tickets for events. So Meghan will be doing this Besties event.
What was meant to be a focused visit is now getting pulled into a storm of debate, and the attention is shifting fast. Others see this as something deeper that's been following her for years. They point to the gap between public messaging and how things are perceived from the outside. Supporters highlight her advocacy work, charity efforts, and campaigns tied to social causes. But critics keep circling back to what they view as mixed signals, especially when those messages are paired with high-end events and luxury settings like this one. That tension is exactly why this email leak is grabbing so much attention right now. For a lot of people watching, it feels like a rare look behind the curtain. Suddenly, private planning details are out in the open, and that naturally gets people curious. Everyone wants to know what's really going on behind the scenes when events like this come together. But the email alone isn't the only reason this story is gaining so much momentum. There's more building under the surface, and people are paying close attention to what could come out next. Another big reason this story is getting so much attention comes down to the location. Australia isn't just any stop. It holds real history for Prince Harry and Meghan, and that adds a whole extra layer to everything unfolding right now. Back in 2018, not long after their wedding, the couple went on a royal tour of Australia that many people called a huge success. Massive crowds showed up everywhere they went. The media coverage was overwhelmingly positive, and commentators even labelled it one of the most successful royal tours in recent memory.
You know, I just think this is another Montecito money grab. As you rightly mentioned, I mean, the Netflix deal has been cancelled. These two just won't give up, and they're just desperate for this relevance. They've got relevance deprivation syndrome.
The energy around them at the time was strong, and the public response was hard to ignore. Now fast forward to today, and the vibe feels completely different. Since stepping back from royal duties and moving to the United States, Harry and Meghan have taken a new path. Their focus shifted toward documentaries, media projects, and building their own independent brand. Some of those moves brought major attention and praise, but others sparked heavy debate and criticism across media outlets and online platforms. Because of that mixed journey, every appearance they make now gets picked apart in detail. People are watching closely, questioning everything, and reacting fast. And that's exactly why this current situation is getting so much heat. It's all tying back into a much bigger story that's been building over time. If this Australia trip was supposed to kick off a fresh new chapter for Meghan, that leaked email may have already flipped the whole storyline. Instead of building excitement around her appearance at the retreat, the conversation online is now packed with questions coming from every direction.
Well, thankfully, Meghan Markle grew up in Hollywood, where hiring extras or seat fillers is a go-to to avoid looking like you failed miserably at something. So who knows? There might not be an empty seat in the house. But honestly, who would pay $3,000 for quotes like, "You have to anchor yourself in your own knowing," or "My bacon brings all the boys to the yard"? I would pay $3,000 for a grifter's guide to making millions off of Netflix and Spotify while doing the bare minimum. I would definitely pay $3,000 for a lesson on how to trap a prince. But that's not what these ladies will get. They'll get Meghan transferring one bag of pretzels into another bag of...
People are questioning the event itself, digging into transparency, and wondering if this situation could turn into something much bigger. The focus has clearly shifted, and it's not slowing down anytime soon. But here's where things take another turn. Some insiders are saying there's even more concern building behind the scenes. According to several commentators, the biggest issue might not even be the email that already leaked. The real worry is what could still come out next. If more messages or behind-the-scenes details surface, this situation could escalate fast and pull in even more attention. As the leaked email kept spreading across social media and news platforms, one specific detail started getting even more attention than the leak itself. It all circles back to the exclusive women's retreat. Meghan Markle is expected to attend during her Australia trip, and now that event is sitting right at the centre of the spotlight. The event is being marketed as a high-end experience centred on empowerment, networking, and personal growth. On the surface, it sounds like something uplifting, a space designed to connect ambitious women and spark new opportunities. But the moment people saw the price tag, the mood shifted fast. Reports online suggest tickets could run into the thousands of Australian dollars, and that number alone sent social media into a frenzy. Users started questioning everything, asking whether this event really stands for accessibility and empowerment, or if it's mainly built for a wealthy crowd. Comments and posts flooded timelines almost instantly. Some people were straight to the point, saying things like, "How empowering can a retreat be if only the richest women can attend?" And just like that, the debate took off and kept gaining momentum. Others jumped in with even sharper reactions. Some were saying, "Meghan talks about inclusivity, yet this is outrageously expensive." While another popular comment claimed, "This is starting to look more like a celebrity vacation than a serious event." Those kinds of responses spread fast and pulled even more attention onto the situation. These reactions highlight something that's followed Meghan for years: the gap between how her message is presented and how some people interpret it.
So, there is a brand new book which is all in and around Meghan Markle being able to brainwash Harry. Do you buy it? Do you believe it? Or is it just a way to sell some paperbacks?
Well, listen, Tom Bower is one of the most feared biographers in the world, and he's gone after Richard Branson, Tony Blair, and of course, Meghan Markle. None of those people have successfully sued him because, like you, Paul, he's an elite level journalist who checks his facts. And don't forget that these publishing companies are not stupid. They're not going to publish things that aren't true because they know they'll wind up in court.
And right now, that gap is once again front and center in online conversations. For many watching, this retreat and the leaked emails swirling around it feel like another example of that ongoing tension. Supporters are pushing back, though. They argue that high-profile events like this are often necessary to draw attention, bring in influential guests, and support bigger initiatives. But critics are not seeing it that way at all. From their perspective, events with luxury-level pricing can come off as disconnected from the ideas of accessibility and empowerment that are often tied to Meghan's public image. And the debate doesn't stop at ticket prices. Reports say the leaked email also revealed behind-the-scenes details about Meghan's schedule, travel plans, and even some of the people expected to meet her during the trip. On their own, none of these details seem unusual. They actually sound like standard planning for a major public appearance. But once private information like that hits the public, everything changes. Curiosity spikes, speculation grows, and people start reading into every little detail. And right on cue, media outlets jumped into the story, adding even more fuel to the conversation. News organizations from different countries quickly jumped on this story, breaking down not just the email itself, but what it might reveal about Meghan's planning style, priorities, and overall strategy when it comes to public events. The coverage spread fast, and every angle started getting picked apart. Some headlines kept it simple, focusing on what was actually revealed in the leak. Others took a more critical tone, suggesting the situation raises bigger questions about how this entire trip is being organized. That split in coverage only added more heat to the conversation. Online reactions are showing a clear pattern. There are still plenty of people who admire Meghan's commitment to the causes she supports and the projects she puts out.
Well, no, what remains to be seen. I can't wait to see how they go here in Australia, the Duke and Duchess of Privacy on another privacy tour.
But at the same time, a large group of critics remains sceptical. And moments like this only make that skepticism stronger. Every time a private detail or internal decision becomes public, it adds another layer to the debate. And this didn't start with the email leak either. Even before this, critics had been watching Meghan's post-royal career very closely. Her media projects, interviews, documentaries, and speaking appearances have all sparked strong and sometimes divided reactions. Some of her ventures pulled in praise and major attention, while others faced mixed reactions or sharp criticism from commentators. And now, with this email leak spreading everywhere, the narrative is shifting again in a big way. It's bringing back a question that keeps popping up online. Can any public appearance involving Meghan avoid intense scrutiny at this point? Because right now, every move seems to trigger a wave of analysis, debate, and non-stop speculation. The timing only makes it more intense. This Australia trip was supposed to highlight key public engagements, bring attention to her initiatives, and strengthen her presence on the global stage. But instead, the leaked email has taken over the headlines and completely redirected the focus. Social media hasn't slowed down for a second. Reactions keep pouring in, with some posts saying, "Meghan seems more concerned with exclusivity than empowerment," while another asked, "Another email leak. How many more details will come out?"
left the royal family 6 years ago, and we have seen even just the fact their Netflix deal was downgraded, although that's not how they have said it, but it is. These sorts of things, I mean, their value has changed, and that is a very expensive ticket. I will say one thing on a personal note, when I saw that $3,000 doesn't get you an individual photo with Meghan, I thought, well, I'd be pretty upset.
Yes.
if I'm going to pay that kind of money to attend this event, presumably just to hear her speak and be in proximity to her, I want a selfie with the two of them.
The tone online is getting louder and more divided. One frustrated user even wrote, "This Australia trip is already a mess before it even starts." And that kind of energy is spreading fast as more people jump into the conversation. Comments like these make it clear just how divided public opinion around Meghan Markle has become. Even something as simple as a logistical email can explode into a full-blown online debate when every move is being watched this closely. The pressure around public perception is still behead high, and moments like this only turn it up even more. At the same time, the bigger picture of Meghan and Prince Harry's post-royal life plays a huge role in why this story is getting so much attention right now. Since stepping away from official royal duties in 2020, the couple has been balancing a mix of media deals, charitable work, business ventures, and public appearances. Some of those moves brought major headlines and strong support, while others sparked skepticism and heavy criticism. Because of that history, this leaked email doesn't just stand on its own. It instantly becomes part of a much larger narrative that people have already been following closely. And that's exactly why the reaction is so intense. Observers often say that even small missteps or anything that looks like a contradiction can quickly spark major controversy around the couple. And with Meghan's upcoming trip tied to luxury, exclusivity, and global attention, it was already set to be watched very closely. Now insiders are saying Meghan is fully aware of the intense scrutiny surrounding this leak.
Expert Richard Kay has claimed Princess Diana was preparing her younger son, Prince Harry, to be the king, preferencing him over the shy Prince William, who Diana felt wasn't interested in the top job. Kinsey, look, we have a lot of respect for the late Princess Diana in this country, but man, did she get that one wrong.
Yeah, I'm allergic to this story. Are we really expected to trust her judgment? Diana died in the backseat of a car with a guy who was engaged to another woman. Another one of her ex-lovers wrote a tell-all about her titled Princess in Love, airing all of their dirty laundry. Prince Charles, period. I mean, I don't even have to go into that one. Her poor judgment in men should be studied in classrooms. Harry is right where he should be, taking pictures with paying customers like he's Mickey Mouse.
Reports claim the situation has left her concerned about how things could be misinterpreted and whether more private details might surface later. That uncertainty is what's making everything feel even more tense. If more information does come out, it could easily pull attention away from the real goals of the trip and push the story even further off track. And just when it seems like things couldn't get more complicated, the situation starts to take another unexpected turn. Sources are now suggesting Meghan may be quietly reviewing parts of the trip after the leak. That could mean changes to schedules, guest lists, or even how certain parts of the event are handled. And of course, that instantly brings up another big question people can't stop asking. Will everything go ahead exactly as planned, or are adjustments coming to avoid even more controversy? With so many moving pieces already in play, and that leaked email spreading everywhere, no one really knows how this Australia trip is going to unfold. For people following this closely, that uncertainty is exactly what's making the story feel so intense right now. Every new leak, every social media reaction, and every rumored change turns into another moment in a fast-moving situation that keeps building. Online, people are tracking everything in real time. Every detail gets picked apart, shared, and debated within minutes. And because Meghan and Harry's post-royal journey has already been filled with headlines, the stakes feel even higher for a global audience that's been watching from the start. As the countdown to the Australia trip continues, media outlets, commentators, and fans are all locked in. Everyone is waiting to see what happens next. Will more details come out? Will plans shift? Or will everything move forward without changes? Even with all the noise, the conversation right now keeps circling back to three main things: the luxury retreat, the leaked email, and the non-stop wave of reactions taking over social media. But beyond all those headlines, there's a much bigger question building around Meghan's public image.
Some figure. His book is called Betrayal. It contains some really juicy allegations, including claims that Queen Camilla, King Charles's wife, confided to a friend, Harry's been brainwashed by Meghan. Who could disagree? Since they got married, he suddenly hates his country, hates his family, hates being a royal, and goes off for a very boring life in California.
And what this moment could mean for everything she does next. This isn't just about one event anymore. It's turning into something much larger. At its core, this situation taps into a bigger story about celebrity scrutiny, powerful media narratives, and the pressure of maintaining a carefully shaped public image. In today's world, even the smallest detail can go viral in seconds. One email slips out, and suddenly millions of people are debating it across every platform. With all that in mind, the focus now shifts to the third and final piece of this story: the Australia trip itself. The significance of Meghan and Harry returning there adds even more weight, and people are already wondering what impact this visit could have on both their personal and professional lives. With the leaked email dominating headlines and the luxury retreat pulling in heavy criticism online, all eyes are now locked in, and everyone is watching closely to see how this plays out next. Meghan Markle's upcoming visit to Australia isn't just another celebrity appearance. It carries real weight for both her and Prince Harry. This trip was originally lined up as a major moment to highlight her initiatives, promote the retreat, and strengthen their presence on the global stage. For some observers, it even feels like a soft return to places they once visited as senior royals. And that history matters. Back in 2018, Australia played a huge role in shaping their early public image. Massive. Crowds came out to see them during that royal tour, and the media coverage at the time was overwhelmingly positive. A lot of commentators even described that visit as one of the most successful royal tours in recent history. Because of that, expectations for this new trip were already set high. Organisers were promising carefully planned appearances, exclusive gatherings, and events designed to generate serious buzz around Meghan's work.
About a year since With Love Meghan launched, and we had 2 seasons of that and a one-off holiday special, and that's no more. So now really all of her eggs are very literally in the as ever basket, especially now she's going it alone without Netflix. So this all kind of feeds into this this image and this career she's trying to build for herself as sort of a Gwyneth Paltrow type, or just getting out there, and it's about lifestyle and self-help and all of those sorts of things. And it does feed into that.
But then everything shifted almost overnight when the leak hit. Now, the spotlight isn't just on her advocacy or the retreat anymore. It's spread across a much wider conversation that's pulling attention in all directions. Instead, the attention has completely shifted. Now the focus is on how her plans were revealed, how people are interpreting those details, and what the fallout from the leak could actually be. The conversation moved fast, and it didn't take long for critics to jump in with strong opinions. Social media filled up almost instantly with posts questioning the retreat's high cost, and pointing out the contrast some people see between messages of empowerment and the exclusivity of a luxury event. Memes started spreading, viral tweets showed up everywhere, and commentary videos dropped one after another. It all proves how quickly public perception can flip in the social media era. One unexpected detail, and everything changes overnight. Some observers now believe the leak could completely overshadow the retreat itself. For them, the timing couldn't be worse. Instead of headlines focused on networking and empowerment, the conversation is now centered on transparency, privilege, and access. Meanwhile, reports suggest Meghan and Harry's team are fully aware of how serious this situation could become. And with the spotlight only getting brighter, every next move is being watched even more closely. Several insiders are saying preparations for the trip are now being reviewed very carefully. That could mean changes to schedules, guest lists, and even how certain parts of the event are handled, all in an effort to avoid adding more controversy. But whether those adjustments will actually calm the conversation is still unclear, and that uncertainty is making the whole situation feel even more intense. Looking beyond the immediate drama, this situation highlights a bigger issue that continues to follow Meghan and Harry: the tricky balance between intention and public perception.
So it is now 7 years on, they're going to be coming back to Australia, but the landscape for them could not be more different. So as I mentioned earlier, I have had sources telling me that it's about coming back here for, there's two main reasons that were mentioned to me. And one is Harry's connection with friends that he's cultivated over the years in Australia. He has a lot of close friends here, particularly in the military community. Then he'll be looking to doing some work in that space while he's here. And also for Meghan, as I said, she's at a very important point in this lifestyle company that she's running and trying to build this empire, because she has now split with Netflix.
In today's media world, even the most carefully planned events can quickly turn into major talking points the moment private details become public. Meghan Markle has spent years building a public image centered around advocacy, empowerment, and charitable work. Those themes have shaped many of her speeches, appearances, and projects. And now they're being pulled back into the spotlight as this story keeps unfolding. In today's media environment, every move Meghan makes, especially something as high profile as this Australia trip, faces intense scrutiny. Even small details like a leaked email or the price of one event can blow up into major talking points that end up overshadowing everything else. At the same time, commentators and media outlets keep linking current stories back to Meghan and Harry's past ventures, from their Netflix projects to speaking appearances and previous events. Critics argue the couple often operates in a space where influence and controversy sit uncomfortably close together. Because of that track record, every new appearance gets examined in detail. Observers are constantly looking for anything that might spark debate, whether it's perceived inconsistencies, luxury elements, or decisions that raise eyebrows. So in that sense, this Australia trip isn't just another date on the calendar. For many commentators, it feels like the latest chapter in an ongoing story that keeps evolving. And people are watching closely to see what happens next. Every public appearance involving Meghan and Harry gets picked apart in detail. People analyze everything: the messaging, the setting, the guest lists, and even the smallest logistical choices. Everyone is searching for clues about their priorities and what their real intentions might be. Still, supporters are standing firmly on Meghan's side. Many argue that high-profile events like this retreat are actually necessary. They say these kinds of platforms help raise awareness, bring in funding, and shine a spotlight on causes that might otherwise struggle to reach a wider audience. From their perspective, the visibility that comes with celebrity involvement can take important conversations to a whole new level. It can amplify messages, reach wider audiences, and even inspire real change in ways smaller platforms just can't. That clash of viewpoints is exactly what makes this story so gripping right now.
Pretty high.
I just can't believe they will be able to find 300 women willing to part with almost $3,000 for this.
Tickets for that are around $3,000. So she'll need to sell out that event because the optics would be terrible if she didn't. But also with Harry, he'll be doing a mental health speech on workplace mental health in Melbourne while he's here. And again, tickets for that are around $2,000. All proceeds go to charity, but they are now commercial and private citizens, as they say. So it's a very different landscape. And there will be comparisons when they're here to that big trip for the monarchy 7 years ago.
On one side, supporters see real advocacy and smart use of influence. On the other, critics feel these kinds of events don't always line up with the message being promoted. That tension has followed Meghan for years, and now with the leaked email, it's been pushed right back into the spotlight in a big way. Another factor making this even more interesting is the international angle. Australia has a long and complex connection with the British royal family, so any visit tied to former senior royals naturally draws major attention. For Meghan and Harry, this trip is about more than just showing up at a retreat. It's a carefully watched public moment. Their 2018 visit still stands out. Huge crowds turned up, the energy was high, and media coverage was overwhelmingly positive. Because of that history, expectations for this return are already elevated, and that just adds even more pressure to everything unfolding now. But now, instead of the spotlight staying on the retreat or Meghan's initiatives, everything has shifted toward the leaked email and the reactions surrounding it. The focus changed fast, and it's pulling attention in a completely different direction. Observers say that while some supporters may still be interested in the luxury side of the retreat, a lot of the media coverage is now locked in on the leak, the online backlash, and the possible public relations fallout. Every tweet, every comment, and every headline is stacking up and adding more fuel to the story. And in today's fast-moving online world, narratives can spiral out of control in no time. What starts as one leak can quickly turn into a much bigger conversation that's hard to contain. Reports also suggest Meghan is aware of just how sensitive this situation has become. The leak is a clear reminder of how easily private planning details can go public, and how quickly public perception can shift away from the original message. Insiders say this growing awareness is already influencing how Meghan's team is handling communication around the trip. Planning, messaging, and logistics are all reportedly being reviewed with extra care as the visit gets closer. The goal seems clear: limit confusion and keep attention on the purpose of the trip. But this is exactly where the tension starts to rise even more. After the email leak, people aren't just watching, they're watching closely for every next move. There's a sense that anything could shift the narrative again at any moment. Questions are building fast. How will Meghan and Harry present themselves during the visit? Will the retreat be adjusted or reframed in response to the criticism? Even casual observers are getting pulled into the conversation now. Online, the reactions are all over the place. Some are speculating about the couple's motivations, while others are diving into bigger discussions about privilege, transparency, and authenticity. And the debate just keeps getting louder. These conversations are spreading fast across every platform, and each new update just adds more fuel to the attention. As the countdown to the trip continues, one question keeps getting louder and harder to ignore. Will Meghan and Harry manage to move through this controversy smoothly? Or will the leaked email end up shaping the entire story of the visit? That uncertainty is what's pulling so many people in right now. It keeps the situation feeling unpredictable. In today's world of celebrity coverage, every move is watched closely. Even the smallest detail can turn into a major talking point overnight. With the spotlight locked firmly on Meghan and Harry, even minor developments can explode into headlines that grab global attention. At this point, all the pieces are in place. The leaked email, the luxury retreat, the intense wave of social media reactions, and the long history surrounding their public image have all come together into one fast-moving story that feels high stakes and impossible to ignore. One thing is clear: this Australia trip is no longer being viewed as just another visit. For many observers, it's turning into something much bigger, a real test of perception, influence, and who controls the narrative moving forward.